Before we start, I want you to do something a little strange. If there is an English book next to you, close it. If you have a notebook open, put the pen down. And if you were getting ready to study grammar, not today. For the next few minutes, I do not want you to study English. I just want you to stay here with me and listen. You do not need to understand every word. You do not need to translate every sentence. You do not need to remember everything I say. Your only job is to follow the meaning. That's it. No test, no homework, no little voice in your head saying, "Wait, what tense was that?" Give that little voice a day off. I know something happens when people learn English for a long time. At first, studying feels useful. You learn rules, you make lists, you highlight words, you watch videos about pronunciation, you save posts with phrases you want to remember. And then, one day, you realize something uncomfortable. You know a lot about English, but when somebody speaks to you, your mind goes quiet. Or maybe you understand them, but your answer arrives 10 seconds too late. In your head, the perfect sentence appears after the conversation is already over. Later, when you're alone, you think, "Why didn't I say that? I knew that sentence." That feeling is frustrating because the problem is not always knowledge. Sometimes the problem is that English still feels like information instead of a voice inside your head. So today, we're going to do something different. I'm going to talk to you like a real person. I'll tell you stories, I'll ask you questions, sometimes I'll repeat an idea in a different way, sometimes I'll speak a little more naturally, and sometimes I will ask you to answer me out loud. Don't worry about making mistakes. If your answer is only 3 words, good. If your grammar is not perfect, good. If you need to stop and start again, also good. The goal is not perfect English. The goal is for English to start feeling familiar. Let me ask you something simple. Where are you right now? Say it in English. Maybe you're at home, maybe you're on a bus, maybe you're walking, maybe you're sitting at your desk pretending to work while listening to me. I won't tell anyone. And how do you feel right now? Tired, relaxed, bored, busy, a little stressed? Say one sentence. I feel tired, I feel good, I'm a little stressed today. That's already English. You didn't open a grammar book, you didn't choose a tense from a chart, you had a thought, and you gave that thought an English sentence. That tiny moment matters more than it looks. Now look around you. Do not translate the whole room. Just notice 3 things: a window, a cup, a phone, a chair, a door, a bag. Pick one thing and say something about it. My coffee is cold. The window is open. My phone is on the table. Easy English is still real English. People sometimes think fluency means using big words quickly, but most real conversations are built from simple words that arrive at the right moment. I'm hungry. I don't know. Give me a second. That makes sense. I forgot. What do you mean? Those sentences may not impress an English exam, but they can save a real conversation. And that's what I want from you today. Stop trying to impress English. Use it. If you miss a word while I'm talking, keep going. Do not stop the video every 5 seconds. Do not open a dictionary unless you truly need it. Let the sentence move past you. When you listen to your own language, you don't inspect every word. You follow the idea. Your brain predicts what might come next. It connects the situation, the emotion, the sound, and the meaning. We want English to become more like that. So here's our little agreement. Here, I will keep my English clear, natural, and a little slower than everyday fast speech. And you will stop trying to be the perfect student. Just be here. Listen to my voice. Follow the story. Answer when you can. Let a few sentences stay in your head. Because in a moment, I'm going to tell you about a morning when almost everything went wrong. And when I say everything, I mean coffee, keys, rain, a very bad decision, and one sentence I really wish I had not said. Stay with me. Don't study it. Just listen. Okay, let me take you back to one morning. It was a Tuesday, and I woke up before my alarm. That sounds good, right? Responsible, peaceful, a perfect start. No, I woke up because I heard rain hitting the window. Not soft rain, heavy rain. The kind of rain that makes you want to stay under the blanket and cancel your entire life. I looked at the clock. 7:48. My alarm was supposed to ring at 7. I grabbed my phone and realized the battery had died during the night. So there I was, late, half awake, hair everywhere, rain outside, no coffee. A very dangerous combination. I got out of bed and went straight to the kitchen. I wasn't in the mood to talk to anyone. I wasn't in the mood to think. I wasn't even in the mood to be awake. I just wanted coffee. I made a cup, took one sip, and immediately felt a little more human. Maybe coffee doesn't solve problems, but sometimes it helps you look at the problems with open eyes. I went back to my room, got dressed as quickly as I could, grabbed my bag, and ran to the door. Then I stopped. Where were my keys? I checked my bag. Nothing. I checked the table, the kitchen, my jacket, the sofa, the bathroom for some reason. I don't know why the keys would be in the bathroom, but when you're late, logic leaves the building. 5 minutes passed. Then 10. I was running late, and now I was really running late. Finally, I looked down. The keys were in my hand. Yes, I had been looking for my keys while holding my keys. Please tell me I'm not the only person who has done something like that. Have you ever looked for your phone while it was in your hand, or looked for your glasses while they were on your face? Tell me, yes, I have, or no, never. I ran outside, opened my umbrella, and immediately discovered that one side of it was broken. Of course it was. The rain was coming sideways. My shoes were getting wet. My hair was getting wet. The umbrella was doing almost nothing. But I kept moving because I had an appointment across town. Normally, I would take the train, but I had a brilliant idea. And by brilliant, I mean terrible. I thought, I'll take a taxi. It'll be faster. It was not faster. Traffic had completely stopped because of the rain. Cars were barely moving. 10 minutes passed, then 15, then 20. I kept looking at the time and thinking, come on, come on. I could feel myself getting more stressed. And this is something interesting about stress. When you're calm, a small problem is a small problem. When you're stressed, every small problem starts joining a team. The rain joins the traffic joins the broken umbrella joins the dead phone, and suddenly your brain says, today is terrible. The driver noticed I was checking the time again and again. He said, don't worry, we'll get there. And I said something I immediately regretted. I said, you said that 10 minutes ago. The second the words left my mouth, I knew they were unfair. It wasn't his fault. He wasn't creating the traffic. He wasn't controlling the rain. He went quiet. And I felt awful. So I took a breath and said, I'm sorry, I'm stressed. That wasn't fair. He smiled and said, it's okay. Bad morning? I looked at my broken umbrella, my wet shoes, my dead phone, and I said, you have no idea. And then something changed. We started talking. Not about traffic, not about being late, just normal things. He told me he had a daughter who loved drawing. I told him I used to draw all the time when I was younger. He told me about a little restaurant he liked. I told him about a terrible meal I tried to cook the week before. It was supposed to be pasta. It became something I can only describe as warm glue. By the time we reached my destination, I was still late, but I wasn't angry anymore. I paid, thanked him, stepped out of the car, and ran toward the building. The door was locked. I checked the address. Wrong building. I laughed. I had gone to the right street and the wrong number. At that point, I almost respected the morning. It was very committed. I finally found the correct building about 8 minutes later. I walked in, ready to apologize for being late. And then the woman at the front desk looked at me and said, "You're early." Early? It turned out that I had written the wrong time in my calendar. The appointment was 30 minutes later than I thought. I had spent the entire morning fighting an emergency that did not exist. Have you ever done that? Have you ever worried about something, rushed because of something, or became angry about something, and then discovered that the situation was completely different than what you thought? Say one sentence about it. Maybe, "Yes, I worried for nothing," or "I thought I was late once, but I wasn't." That morning gave me a sentence I still use with myself. First, find out what is actually happening. Not what you fear is happening, not what you imagine is happening, what is actually happening. And funny enough, the same idea can help with English. When you hear English, your brain sometimes panics before it needs to. "I missed a word. I don't understand. This is too fast. My English is terrible." But maybe you understood the situation. Maybe you understood the emotion. Maybe you understood 80%. That's enough to keep going. So don't create an emergency because one word escaped. Stay with the meaning. I want to try something with you now. I'm going to talk about that morning again, but this time I want you to notice something different. Not grammar. I promised you a day off from grammar. I want you to notice the little pieces of English that people use again and again. I was running late. I wasn't in the mood. It turned out I was early. I ended up talking to the driver. I couldn't believe it. That's when I realized I had the wrong time. Those are not fancy sentences, but they are useful because they carry whole ideas. Instead of building English one tiny word at a time, you can start hearing these pieces as one sound, one thought. I wasn't in the mood. You don't need to stop and ask yourself, why is wasn't here? What rule is this? Just hear the feeling. I wasn't in the mood to cook. I wasn't in the mood to answer messages. I wasn't in the mood to be a responsible adult. That last one is useful more often than it should be. What were you not in the mood to do recently? Finish the sentence out loud. I wasn't in the mood to maybe work, study, cook, go out, talk to anyone. Good. Now listen to this one. I ended up. This is the kind of phrase you hear in stories all the time. You had one plan, but something different happened. I planned to stay home, but I ended up going out. I went to the store for milk and ended up buying 5 things I didn't need. That one is dangerous. Think about yesterday. Did you end up doing something you didn't plan to do? Say it simply. I ended up watching a movie. I ended up working late. I ended up ordering food. Notice what we're doing. You're not memorizing a definition, you're connecting English to your own life. That connection is powerful. Let me give you another situation. Imagine it's Friday evening. You've had a long week. A friend sends you a message. Do you want to go out tonight? What's your first thought? Be honest. Maybe, I want to, but I'm exhausted. Or, I don't feel like going out. Or maybe you're the opposite. Yes, I need to get out of the house. Choose one and say it. Think about it. This is how speaking becomes faster. Not because you learned 10,000 rules, because certain thoughts begin to have an English shape. Hungry becomes, I could eat something. Confused becomes, wait, what do you mean? Agreement becomes, that makes sense. Time to think becomes, give me a second. Surprise becomes, no way. Softly, you start reaching for the whole phrase instead of translating word by word. Let's make it a little more real. I'm going to say a situation. You respond naturally. Someone offers you more food, but you're completely full. What do you say? You could say, no thanks, I'm full. Someone explains something and now you understand. What do you say? Oh, that makes sense. Someone asks you a question, but you need a moment to think. What do you say? Give me a second. Your friend tells you they got the job they really wanted. That's amazing. There is no complicated grammar lesson here. We're training something much more practical. We're training the distance between a feeling and a sentence. Right now, that distance might be long. You feel something, you translate, you check the grammar, you change the sentence, you worry, then you speak. With enough listening and enough small speaking moments, that distance gets shorter. You feel something and English comes. Not always perfectly, but fluency is not perfection. Fluency is movement. You keep the conversation moving even when the sentence is simple. Let me ask you one more question. What did you do this morning? Don't make a beautiful answer. Give me 3 simple sentences. I woke up at 7, I made coffee, then I went to work. Maybe your morning was more exciting than mine. Maybe not. Either way, say it. And if you notice yourself stopping because you don't know one word, go around it. This is one of the most important speaking habits you can build. If you don't know the word kettle, you can say the thing I use to heat water. If you forget the word appointment, you can say a meeting I had at 10. Keep moving. A conversation is not a vocabulary exam. The person listening to you wants the idea. Give them the idea. Slightly playful, English can survive a missing word. I promise. Now I want to take the words away for a moment. Not completely, that would make this a very strange English video, but I want you to stop thinking about English as words on a page. Think in pictures. Imagine you are standing in your kitchen early in the morning. The room is quiet. Light is coming through the window. There is a cup on the counter. What is in the cup? Coffee? Tea? Water? Say it. Now imagine you pick up the cup. It's cold. What do you think? Maybe, ugh, my coffee is cold. Notice what happened. I gave you a picture. Your brain understood the situation first, then English came after it. That's much closer to real life than translating a sentence from your language. Let's keep walking. You leave the house. The weather looks fine, so you don't take an umbrella. 5 minutes later, rain. What do you say? Of course. Sometimes 2 words can tell a whole story. You start walking faster. A car passes and splashes water near your shoes. Seriously? Another very useful word. Now you're at a coffee shop. There are 3 people in front of you. You're looking at the menu, but you already know what you want. What are you going to order? Say the sentence before I do. Can I get a latte, please? Maybe you want tea. Can I get a tea, please? Maybe you don't want anything because the prices are frightening. Then you can say nothing and quietly leave. Here's the point. Real English is attached to moments. A cold cup, rain on your head, a menu, a tired face, a friend calling, a door that won't open, a train arriving as you run towards it. The more English you attach to real moments, the less you need translation. Let's do another one. Your phone rings. You look at the screen. It's someone you were supposed to call yesterday. What is your first thought? Oh no, I forgot. You answer. What do you say? I'm so sorry, I completely forgot to call you. That's a useful sentence because it belongs to a real feeling, embarrassment. Now another picture. You're sitting with a friend. Your friend is telling you a long story. At first, you understand. Then the story becomes complicated. There's a cousin, a coworker, a neighbor, a dog, a canceled flight, and somehow a wedding. You are lost. What can you say? Wait, I'm confused. Or, wait, who is Mike again? You don't have to pretend you understand. This is important for English learners because sometimes you think successful listening means never asking for help. It doesn't. Native speakers ask people to repeat things all the time. Sorry, what was that? Can you say that again? I didn't catch that. Those are not signs of failure. They are tools that keep you inside the conversation. Imagine you're speaking English with someone and you miss one sentence. Instead of smiling nervously and hoping the conversation somehow repairs itself, you can rescue yourself. Sorry, I didn't catch that. Simple, useful, real. Let's make the pictures a little faster now. You open the refrigerator. There's almost no food. What do you think? I need to go shopping. Your friend is 20 minutes late. Where are you? You find $20 in an old jacket. No way! You send a message to the wrong person. Oh no. Someone asks if you want dessert. Always. Okay, maybe that's just me. Can you feel the difference? We're not staring at English. We're living little moments through English. This is one reason listening can be so powerful when you actually pay attention to meaning. You begin collecting experiences, not just words. The phrase, "I didn't catch that," gets connected to the feeling of missing something. "I'm not in the mood" gets connected to tired Friday evenings. "It turned out" gets connected to surprising endings. And eventually, when life gives you the moment, the English has somewhere to go. That's when the language starts feeling less like a subject and more like yours. There is one problem we haven't talked about yet. You can understand a lot of English and still be afraid to speak. Maybe you know the sentence. You can hear it in your head. But right before you say it, another thought appears. What if it's wrong? That question has stopped millions of perfectly good sentences. I want to tell you about a conversation I once watched between two people. One person spoke very advanced English, long sentences, difficult vocabulary, careful grammar. The other person used much simpler English, short sentences, basic words, sometimes imperfect grammar. Guess who sounded more comfortable? The person using the simple English. Why? Because they were listening, responding, smiling, asking questions, moving forward. The advanced speaker was trying so hard to make every sentence perfect that the conversation kept stopping. It made me think about what fluency actually feels like. Fluency is not, "I never make a mistake." Fluency is, "I can stay in the moment." Someone says something, you react. You don't understand, you ask. You forget a word, you explain around it. You say something incorrectly, you fix it and continue. You survive. The English police do not arrive. So I want to give you permission to speak before you feel ready, because ready is a moving target. You learn 500 words and think, maybe after 1,000. You learn 1,000 and think, maybe when my grammar is better. Your grammar improves, and you think, maybe when my pronunciation sounds more natural. Then years pass, and the only thing you didn't practice enough was speaking. We can change that with very small moments. I'll ask you questions. Do not prepare a perfect answer. What is something you enjoyed this week? 1 or 2 sentences. I watched a good movie. I had dinner with my family. I finally had some time to relax. What is something that annoyed you this week? Come on, there is always something. Traffic was terrible. My internet stopped working. I had too much work. What is something you're looking forward to? I'm looking forward to the weekend. I'm looking forward to my trip. I'm looking forward to sleeping. A very respectable goal. Did you notice how normal those answers are? That's conversation. Real people do not spend every conversation discussing complicated ideas. Sometimes we discuss lunch for an unreasonable amount of time. What do you want to eat? I don't know. What do you want? I asked you first. That's international English practice. The pressure gets smaller when you stop thinking every sentence needs to prove your level. It doesn't. A sentence only needs to do its job. If someone asks, "How was your day?" you can say, "Pretty good. I was busy, but I'm okay." Job done. If someone asks, "Do you want to come with us?" you can say, "I'd love to, but I can't tonight." Job done. If you disagree, you can say, "I see what you mean, but I don't think I agree." Job done. You can make those sentences more advanced later. First, make them available. I like to think of speaking like opening a path. The first time you say a sentence, the path is small. You hesitate, you search, you say it. The second time, it's a little easier. The 10th time, the sentence can come out before you even think about the grammar. That's why repeating useful ideas in real situations matters. Let's open a few paths together. You're tired and someone asks you to go out. Say, "I'd love to, but I'm exhausted." Someone says something surprising. Say, "Really? I had no idea." You need more time. Say, "Can I think about it?" You agree completely. Say, "Exactly, that's what I mean." You are not sure. Say, "I'm not sure yet." Simple phrases, real reactions. And here's something I really want you to remember. Confidence usually comes after action, not before it. People wait to feel confident before they speak, but speaking is often the thing that creates confidence. You say one sentence and survive, then another, then you have a short conversation. One day, you finish talking to someone and suddenly realize, wait, that was all in English. That moment feels amazing, not because every word was perfect, because you were present. You listened, you understood, you responded. You used the language instead of studying the language. That's the direction we're moving in today. If you're still here with me, I want you to notice something. You have been listening to English for quite a while. Maybe you missed some words. Maybe 1 or 2 sentences were difficult. But you're still here. You followed me. You understood stories. You imagined situations. You answered questions. You probably said more English out loud than you expected. And somehow, no grammar worksheet was harmed. Amazing. At the beginning, I asked you to put the books away. I wasn't saying books are bad. Studying has a place. But studying cannot be the only place where your English lives. English needs to live in your morning, in your thoughts, in the little things you say when you're surprised, tired, hungry, confused, happy, late, excited, or annoyed. It needs to become connected to your life. So before we finish, I want to do one final challenge with you. Nothing difficult. Tell me about your day. Start with this morning. What time did you wake up? What was the first thing you did? What did you eat or drink? Did anything go wrong? Did anything make you smile? And how do you feel now? Speak in simple sentences. I woke up at 7. I was really tired. I made coffee, then I checked my phone. I had a busy morning, but now I feel better. That's enough. If you want to say more, keep going. Tell me what you're going to do later. Tell me what you're worried about. Tell me what you're excited about. Don't translate a perfect paragraph first. Just begin. There is a strange moment in language learning when you realize the words you used to study are becoming your words. Maybe the first time you learned, "I'm looking forward to it," it was just a phrase in a lesson. Then one day, somebody asks about your vacation and you say it without thinking, "I'm really looking forward to it." And the phrase is not a lesson anymore. It belongs to you. That's what I want more of for you. Not more pages full of English you recognize. More English you can reach when you need it. Listen, understand, respond, repeat. And little by little, the language becomes faster inside you. If you want a simple routine after this video, do this. Listen to English every day for a short time. Choose English that you can mostly understand. When you hear a sentence that feels useful, say it once, then connect it to your life. If you hear, "I ended up staying home," think of your own example. "I ended up working late." If you hear, "I'm not in the mood," make it yours. "I'm not in the mood to cook." That's enough to turn listening into something active without turning it into homework. Because the second I give you 30 exercises and a color-coded chart, our no study day is officially over. We're not doing that. Instead, I want you to leave this video with one idea. You do not become fluent only by learning more English. You become fluent by making the English you already know easier to use. That happens through repetition, listening, responding, and real experience. It happens when you stop being afraid of simple sentences. It happens when you stop treating every mistake like an emergency. It happens when you keep talking even after a word disappears. And it happens when you give yourself enough time around the language for it to feel normal. So if your English feels slow today, that's okay. Slow can become natural. If you still translate sometimes, that's okay. Keep giving your brain more English moments. If you make mistakes, that's okay. Everyone who speaks a language makes mistakes. Some people simply make them faster. That's part of fluency too. What matters is that you keep going. And if you stayed with me until this moment, I want you to do one small thing. In the comments, write one sentence about your day. Not a perfect sentence, your sentence. You can write, "Today was busy, but I feel good," or "I wasn't in the mood to work today," or "I ended up watching this whole video." That one would make me very happy. And read a few other comments. You might discover that thousands of people are practicing the same way you are. Different countries, different lives, same little moment of courage. If this kind of English helps you, stay with English Tempo. We'll keep practicing English through real stories, useful conversations, and the kind of language you can actually use outside a lesson. For today, though, you're done. No quiz, no vocabulary test, no homework. Just notice what happened. You listened. You understood. You spoke. That's how fluency begins. I'll talk to you again soon.